Welcome to Transform and Transformational, a Teach Beyond podcast. I'm Kian.
And I'm Heather. We're here to explore what it means to be transformed in our own lives and how that overflows to living lives of transformational impact in our communities.
It's hard to believe we're coming to the end of this season with just a few episodes left. And this time of year is the end of the school year for many of our listeners.
If it's not the end of the school year for you now, you could always save this episode to listen to at the end of your school year.
What we have today is a collection of tips and encouragements for the end of the school year from a number of our guests from this past season.
It's so fun hearing these messages from people who've shared on a variety of topics throughout the season. And you know what, Kian? This makes me want to go back and re-listen to their episodes from the past year.
Yeah, for sure. And these tips range from super practical to some that are philosophical and things for the classroom and things for your personal life.
Yeah, helping us look back, look ahead. Yeah, and don't forget to listen to the end to hear our tips too.
Let's go over to hear some tips from our past guests.
Hi, I'm Linda Kardamis from Teach for the Heart, and my tip for the end of the year is to step back and consider, what do you really want to get done between now and the end of the year? I'm talking specifically academically, but you can also apply it in other areas like relationship building. So it is to step back and look particularly at any scope and sequence or curriculum maps that you've created and say, okay, what all is on here that I didn't get to? How much time do I have left? And rather than just keep rolling on to the next thing and maybe miss something really great that was at the end, instead just be strategic and say, okay, this is the amount of time I have left. What do I want to cover? And just pick and choose the most important things and to put them in there. So that's my best tip for the end of the year.
One of my favorite year-end activities was to get my kids used to a really fun song. We would watch the music video or whatever. I usually chose something by Toby Mac or something. And then about 5 minutes before the end of the last school day, we would put on this music video and we would all dance our way out of the building. And that was my favorite way to celebrate the end of the school year.
Hello, my name is Jessica Moulding, and I have some thoughts and tips for the end of the school year. The first one is that I used to always remind my staff that there are actually two reasons for changes in student behavior at the end of the year. The first is what we expect. They're excited about the start of summer. They're looking forward to the break and time with family and friends. But the other is the exact opposite. Some of our students are feeling scared or nervous about summer coming because their family life may not be super stable, or you may be taking away routines that they need to best function. So pay close attention to your students. Why is their behavior changing? If you can identify how they're feeling about the upcoming summer vacation, you can respond to their needs a little more accurately. Also, I would always recommend that teachers continue using skill-based lessons. Yes, they've got lots of energy. Try to go outside to do lessons or make them more hands-on, more group work if you need to burn some energy. But stay focused on those skills. Not only that, help your students see that you have goals before the end of the school year. Share with them the things you hope to accomplish in math, science, writing, reading. What are you trying to finish before the school year ends? Let them know so they can take that adventure right along with you. Last, I would always remind my teachers to slow down and give themselves and their students a whole lot of grace. The end of the school year is packed with events, things to finish. So much is going on that, well, tensions can run high and grace can run short. Take some time, take deep breaths, help your students do the same. Recenter and thank the Lord that you have made it through another school year, and try to enjoy those final days and moments with this group of students that you have.
Hi, Savana Duke here, and as a teacher of transient students, I always recommend taking designated time at the end of the school year to honor students who are leaving, while also recognizing the students who are staying and leaving space for all of the students to work through their emotions and figure out what this upcoming transition could look like in their life.
Hi, my name is Tami, and I have a couple end of the school year tips for you. The first one is to take time and enjoy your students. We only have a few more days with them, so make the end of the school year fun. My other tip is to take some time and write down all the things that you need to complete before the end of the school year. This could be big things to little things and everything in between. It might seem overwhelming at first to look at that list, but you're able to see all the things that you need to accomplish, and you're able to prioritize those things on your list. It also is very satisfying to see that list shrink. I hope that you have such a wonderful rest of the school year and you get to take some time to enjoy your students.
Hi, my name is Jacob Cavett, and I serve at the Christian International School of Prague in the Czech Republic. My tip for ending the school year well is to plan well for the summer. As teachers, it's very easy to go all school year long and just work a million miles an hour, and then summer hits and we suddenly have all this extra time for 8 weeks, and it can feel almost a little draining at times. I know, especially for people like me who very much thrive on a routine. So for me, I know it's very helpful to go ahead and start making plans for the summer. Maybe plan a trip or two, plan a ministry to be a part of, or a creative project to work on, so that you can have those things to look forward to. I know it's even helpful for me to create a sort of daily routine so that I can just have some sort of structure that I would lack otherwise. So yeah, I'd say just plan for the summer, think about how you can use it intentionally, and pray that the Lord would bless that time. It would be very refreshing and hopefully fruitful in some way as well.
Hi, this is Cesar from the Dominican Republic. As you are a teacher, at the end of the school year, I have an advice for you. Spend time in the Word of God. Hear the Lord. Memorize God's Word. Teach God's Word, and that will make your job easier this year. So that's the advice I have for you.
Hi, this is Kelly. I'm a school psychologist in the Philippines. And as you think about ending the school year with your students, there's there are a lot of emotions going on in your classroom, and there's so much transition that your students are anticipating. Some may be leaving the school or leaving the country. Everyone is changing grade levels and teachers, and I think there's a lot of valuable conversations to be had around naming what we're feeling and helping them to treat everyone with a little bit more kindness. And I think that's true for us as teachers too, knowing there's a lot swirling around in their heads and hearts, and how can we care for that well? Are there chances to talk and process about what they may be thinking and feeling, and then showing a lot of grace in that transition?
My name is Clarence Yau, and I serve in Kandern, Germany. And a piece of advice or encouragement for you, teachers working at a school as you end the school year, would be to enjoy each day. Take the time to enjoy each day instead of focusing on the finish line, but to take each moment captive and enjoy your time with your students and with your fellow coworkers at the school. Be present. If there's something that someone wants to do with you, say yes. Don't worry about those grades. Grades do need to get done, but being intentional and listening for what a person may need at that time in order to close the year off well.
Let's take a quick break to share our weekly spotlight for this week.
Our weekly spotlight this week is Hope Seed School in Ecuador. To learn more about this school, visit teachbeyond.org/go or click on the link in the show notes.
And now, back to our tips for ending the school year.
Hi, my name is Lindsay, and I'm the Third Culture Kid Care Coordinator with Teach Beyond. In terms of ending the school year well, I would say it really needs to be an emphasis on relationships with students. And so helping them to know that everything that they have given you in terms of their work and their trust and their conversation has been worth it to you, has been meaningful to you, and really solidifying those relationships at the end is important, especially if you have kids who are not coming back. Make sure that they know that they've been appreciated in your classroom, that you have cared for them, that you'll miss them, and that you would like to continue to hear how they're doing in the future. And make sure you mean it if you say it. Maybe there are safe ways that you can continue to hear from them, either through a friend or through a relative who will still be present. I think those are just some really important things as the school year ends, especially in international schools.
Yes, and hi, I'm Bastian from South Africa. And my suggestion for the end of the year, after working in a school for so many years, I just used to give the teachers a checklist of what needed to happen on what date. And so, even if you don't get that from your school, make a checklist for yourself, and you will know that if you've done that by that date, you don't need to stress about anything, and the year will just quietly come to an end. You might have to work harder. We know that there's marks, and there are remarks, and there are desks to tidy, and I don't know what all, but if you've got a checklist, you can easily come to the end of the year. And then my advice is switch off completely and go and have a lovely holiday.
My name is Tosca Nathan, and as you reach the end of the school year, I'd like to encourage you to look back and see how God has moved through you, in you, with you throughout the school year, and celebrate all those moments where you saw Him at work.
Hey, this is David Platt. As you think about the end of the school year and your mindset as approaching that, one, just be encouraged. You're almost there. You've worked so hard. Having been married to a teacher for years, I know how the end of the school year can be so taxing. And at the same time, as you are finishing everything out, don't miss these moments with those you're teaching, that are just to maximize these moments that are before you go off. Some of these kids maybe you see again, maybe some of them you don't. And so make the most of these moments. Even if you might see them again, it'd be months before you see them or however long, to know that these moments that you have with them are shaping their lives in so many ways beyond what you will see. And so you've seen all kinds of growth in them, or maybe you've struggled to see growth in them, but don't underestimate for a second what your influence in them, the fruit that's going to come from that, far beyond what you see. And to live and teach, especially during the end of this school year, in ways that will bear fruit for months, if not years, or echo into eternity beyond what you're able to see now.
Hey, this is Sonam. Here is my encouragement for teachers as you approach the end of the school year. Take time to slow down. And I don't do this much myself, so perhaps this is me saying it to myself too. Take time to slow down, but do not slow down in emptiness. Slow down with God. Spend time with Him, not to know His will or His next call, but just to know Him. Ultimately, that is what matters, our communion with God. What we do, where we go, how we live are consequences of that communion. So take time to slow down with God.
Hi, I'm Brian, and a couple of things for end of school year advice. As you think about this, coming to the end of your school year, one question to ask yourself is, what do you want to celebrate? Like, what do you really want to be sure of reminding yourself of that's happened this year, and how you and your students, or maybe how you and your colleagues have grown? And then as you think about this celebration, how will you party about this? Like, are you going to have some ice cream to celebrate it? Is it a confetti cannon like Heather would do? Think of how you could celebrate and celebrate. Second point would be, what do you need to leave behind in a healthy way? Probably not every expectation you had was met this school year. So what do you need to release or just let go of from your expectations? And is there something in there that you can grow in and learn from as you think about taking on future planning and setting expectations? Thirdly, what conversations do you want to, or maybe do you need to have? This reminds me of the raft that Lindsay Nimmon talked about on her podcast episode, but it's so important. Who would you like to take a walk with? Who would you like to maybe give a small gift to? Who do you need to clear the air with or come alongside with to help this time close well?
Okay, Kian, now it is our turn to share our tips for ending the school year well.
Yeah, I'm excited for hearing what you're going to share. But I've never been a teacher, so this is more as a tip as a student who's been in a number of classrooms, and also I've worked in some school settings. So it's been already alluded to in some other tips, but it's important to savor the moments at the end of the school year. And I would encourage at the end of the year, everyone's already tired, ready to kind of just be done, or they're already looking ahead to the summer, making plans or worrying about just the next things they have to do. And it's just so important to stay present in the moment and really appreciate the time you have in this situation. You know, you might see all these teachers, students, everybody in your school again at some other point, but it's never going to be exactly the same. You're never going to be with this same group of kids, the same group of fellow teachers in this situation. So just really savor that time together.
Yeah, I think my tip sort of stems off of that too. It helps me to have some concrete things to be doing to stay in the moment. Otherwise, I could rush ahead or get stuck in reflection. So, in the past, for me as a teacher, that has looked like planning special activities, even as small as like on Monday, we're going to do a class selfie. And on Thursday, we're going to have this movie playing over lunchtime. Just, one thing per day to count down maybe the last 10 days of the school year or something like that. And just keep us grounded in that day. Okay. The fun thing for the day is this. And I also liked writing a note or a poem for my class that reflected back on the year as a way to have closure and maybe affirm things in them or call out some funny moments that we've had, and just kind of a unifying way to end the year. And for me, it just put an end punctuation on the year.
I love those. It's great to have something special each day as kind of a way to count down. I think that's wonderful. And it can be so helpful to have some practical things to do to stay in the moment for sure. And that brings us to the end of the show today.
Kian and I, and many of the past guests who shared their tips today, serve with an organization called Teach Beyond. Education plays a big role in missions, and Teach Beyond is a part of that.
As followers of Jesus, Teach Beyond is a global community providing transformational education services as part of God's ongoing mission to transform individuals and communities into all He intends.
Want to learn more and get involved? Visit teachbeyond.org or follow us on social media.
To help more people find the podcast and hear about Teach Beyond, we'd love it if you would leave a rating or review and share the show with a friend. Be sure you're subscribed or following the show on the platform you listen so you never miss an episode.
And as always, you can reach us at podcast@teachbeyond.org. We'll see you next week.
The mystery word for this week is this.